Hello and welcome back to the True Crime Comedy Podcast, Murderess Podcast. I am your host, Sidney Smith, with my co-host,
Jamie Kamaya.
What up, Jay?
How are you?
How are you? Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for all the positivity that you guys have been sending our way recently. Thank you for the 5-star ratings, the reviews. One of our latest reviews, I pulled myself a nickname out of it. So thank you very much for sending it in. My new nickname now, I will only answer to Butter.
Butter.
Gotta say Butter. You gotta say it like a New York style playground basketball player.
Whoever gave you this nickname, you're banned from the show.
Well, they didn't give the nickname. They just said my voice was like Butter. And I said, oh, that's my new Butter.
You've been walking around this past week with this new nickname. Telling everybody.
Dude, I got the paperwork lined up already. It's going to be Sidney. I changed my middle name.
Legal. Right. This is a legal name change.
Oh, Butter.
Sidney Butter Smith.
That's how I will probably be brought to the stage going forward for all shows. Sidney Butter Smith. But thank you guys for all that positivity. Before we get started, for people who are new to the podcast, just lay this down for you. This is a podcast where we talk about only female killers for the most part.
Ladies.
That's the most cool you get for a lady right there. The ladies. Except for if you hit up our Patreon, if you want to support us that way, then you'll find some other things that we're doing. And we should be doing another bonus episode later this week, hopefully. So hopefully we'll be doing another bonus episode later this week for our people who are already following us on Patreon. If you want to get out there and support us on Patreon, just go to patreon.com/murderesspodcast, or you can just go straight to our website, murderesspodcast.com, and click the fan club button, and they'll get you there. Just follow the steps from there. Back to what I was saying before, though. Shout out. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you for all the positivity. If you have not done so and are able to do so, please leave us that 5-star rating plus a great review. Maybe give Jamie a nickname. I don't know.
How about no more nicknames?
No way. No. Maybe Jamie gets something. Huh? I'm Butter. Who could you be? Miracle Whip.
Mayo.
Butter. Oh, yeah.
No. I'm sorry.
No.
Edit that out.
No way. Miracle Whip. You're right. Mayo is going to be more what you would be if I was at your house, meaning someone of your persuasion. I have a better chance of finding mayo than Miracle Whip. So, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Miracle Whip is garbage.
No, mayonnaise sucks.
No, Miracle Whip, you can just tell it's just fat. Mayo has some flavor to it.
No, it doesn't.
Some spice.
No, it's because we all know that's what you like is spice.
I love mayo on anything.
Oh, my God. It's the worst. It is the worst.
I'm a walking stereotype when it comes to mayo.
Man, I have not really talked to you that much in the last week. How you doing? Everything's good?
No, hanging in there. The youngin' got his first shot. Was watching him get that shot. He was a little nervous. I said, don't watch the needle go in. But he couldn't not watch it. Well, as soon as they start to stick him, he turns to
well, because
really?
It's like telling someone not to look down. Don't look down. What is the first thing they do? You look down. You tell a kid not to look at a needle. He's going to look at the needle.
I don't look. I never look. I don't mind shots, but I never look.
I don't like them at all. I don't want to see the needle come and surprise. The only time, I think I've said this before in the podcast, the only time a needle doesn't bother me is if I'm getting a tattoo, which is a weird thing, I think. But
which is a lot longer and more painful than
yeah, but it just doesn't bother me at all, man. Not at all. So how's he feeling after that shot?
He had no symptoms. So that was good.
A young punk.
All right. I had no symptoms, but I have the body of a young punk.
No, yeah. Body of a young punk that eats Pop-Tarts all the time.
Yes.
Well,
you told me this is a 2 Pop-Tart episode, so I took your word for it.
Yeah, man. I did not say it's a 2 Pop-Tart episode.
I'm paraphrasing.
I have never, ever designed a time frame based off the amount of Pop-Tarts that you need to eat, ever.
You told me the number of pages to this story, and I said, let me go get another one.
I like this one that we're getting ready to do today, and we'll get into it here momentarily, folks, but it is a longer one. And I know, as I just explained, and as you and I both have explained, I don't want to act like it's just my podcast. It is both our podcasts. But the story, I dug the story when I was looking at it from a 10,000 foot view. But I don't think you could tell the stories without telling the story of both people who are involved.
As long as we got a murderess in there, that's all that counts.
So there's a murderess in there, but I definitely wanted to make sure we told the complete story. And so that's what we plan to do today. So it is a little bit longer. So this one, folks, will get you through the drive to work and the drive home, depending on how far you have to drive. And it'll also get you, I imagine it'll get you through 2 lunch breaks. So,
nice.
So it's going to be, it's got a little.
This should have been a 2-weeker, huh? We could have kind of have like to be continued, leave them in suspense.
Nah, that's only for you. That would only mean 1 Pop-Tart for you if we had did that.
Hey, you're the one who buys the Pop-Tarts.
This is true. This is true.
Think down the road.
Again, for everyone out there, we are still sneaking up on that release day information for the live podcast. So I'll be letting you guys know about that. Also, I'm trying to figure this whole thing out with Apple Podcasts and the Apple channel and the subscription, the freemiums, and Apple's got this whole new thing they're doing, and I'm trying to figure out if it's going to be good for us. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if it's going to be good for us as well as good for our listeners. So kind of keep an eye out for that. The podcast channel would kind of let me, I should say, because I have 2 podcasts, put both podcasts and any other podcasts I decide to create onto one channel. And then there's different things depending on each show. You can go from there with it. So still trying to figure all that out for you Apple podcast users out there. Hopefully I can get that worked out.
I've never been consulted on this.
Say again?
I've never been consulted on this.
This is true. I'm sorry. Jamie, what do you think about having a channel on Apple Podcasts?
I'll just defer to you on this one.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we talked about this. This is
just nice to be asked.
Oh, ask, huh? What do we? This is the weirdest marriage I've ever been in. Well, actually, it's like a regular marriage because I don't get any sex out of this one either. So
well, that's on you.
Oh, I'm not trying hard enough. Man, it's been a tough week for me this week. I have never wanted my vacation for the 4th of July to happen. The wife and I take this vacation for the last 3 or 4 years for 4 or 5 days. And I've never wanted this vacation to come up faster than that.
You're ready.
I was ready to go a month ago.
It's up north, right?
Yeah, we go to Flag. It's a great time up there with some great friends.
Flagstaff for the non-locals.
I'm sorry. Yes, Flagstaff, Arizona. Have some great time, some great fun. But I need it, man. I need it. I actually, my other podcast that I normally record on Monday, I'm going to record tonight because I just did not have the mental wherewithal to want to do it after Sunday's show. I was kind of burnt. I feel like I'm just burnt out a little bit already.
Yeah, that happens. Sometimes you need that vacation to recharge the batteries.
I need something because I haven't been wanting to do. I mean, how often does that hit you? I mean, I know we're different people, but still, it's got to. I mean, how often does it hit you?
I don't know. I'm more of a panicky type. Like I'm going to Boston the end of July, and it's like I'm not going to be doing my part-time job. I'll get my week of vacation, but I won't be working my part-time job that week. And now I'm like in a panic mode. I'm like, God, can I afford this trip to go on? I can, but I'm always in a panic mode over it. So I guess I never lose that charge over fear of being broke.
Yeah, I don't. I guess maybe because I don't have that worry. But neither do you. So I don't know why
I shouldn't. It's not a logical worry.
It's not like you grew up in a poor family.
No, I did. I'm middle class, but no, we didn't
exactly
struggle.
Right. Normally, people who struggle growing up usually carry that type of mentality. Is it the divorce? Since the divorce, and
maybe I should feel like I should just be further along than this point in my life. I don't know. I just bought a house. 44, and I just bought a house.
That's interesting that you say that. Do you feel that way right now? And does being divorced and having that gap after the divorce to where you are now, just buying a house again, you think that's what kind of played into where you are right now mentally?
Yeah, probably. I mean, 20 years ago when I was 24, I didn't think I'd be 1 month into a 30-year mortgage.
Right.
It's like you have these plans. Life never goes like you think it will.
Right.
But it's just like, okay, I need to make this happen. This has to happen.
Do you feel like you don't have much time left on this earth? Is that maybe why? Do you see it that way?
I mean, my father died at 72, so that's kind of sobering when it comes to your own mortality.
That's still, no offense, but that's a good life. That's still a good length. And
there are people who have had it worse for sure, but still 72 is young. It's the average age now is almost 80. I think.
Yeah. I completely get that. I'm just trying to figure out why guys such as yourself, who, as you said, you're doing fine. You're not a paycheck away from being on the streets or anything like that. You are a hustler. Why you would get nervous about taking a trip, feeling like you should be doing, that little something extra that you would be doing. And I'm just trying to figure out maybe getting divorced and having to deal with all of that leading up to now. You feel like maybe
because I'm still paying for that divorce. 10 months of that.
Right, I was going to say, how long you been? How long have you been divorced?
Since 2017.
Okay, so looking at that 4 years, so do you feel like there's been so another 10 months of paying for that? 5 years. Like, do you feel like that's a lost 5 years in terms of finances? Maybe.
Oh yeah. Well, in terms of the loss of finance, yeah. But I mean, it is what it is now. It's not going away. The light is at the end of the tunnel.
Hey, but you know what's weird that you would say that you feel that way, because a part of you is somewhat of a gambler in terms of you have tried start your own businesses a couple of different times. And that's kind of a gambler's mentality, which is kind of counterintuitive to what you're saying right now.
It is. I mean, it was. I won't go into a business that I don't think is somewhat lower risk. Any business is a risk, obviously.
Right.
Like I want to start like a type of restaurant, bringing some of that East Coast roast beef sandwich. I want to open a place like that up here, but food's a big risk. You need investors in that, and it's a much bigger risk.
And that's a huge risk, I think, right now, especially you to try to start it now. I think you almost maybe have dodged the bullet because there are so many different restaurants coming from back east. We are so inundated with different types of food right now from back east.
But not the food like the roast beef sandwich, that's huge back east. It does not exist out here.
I understand. But you just had, I can't even think of the damn, I just had it last night for dinner. A sandwich spot out of Chicago that's here now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's just so many different restaurants coming out here right now. Do you still believe that idea is a winner?
Yeah, today? It's not like a big restaurant. It's more like a strip mall type of place that you just have to get the word out.
See, and that's you and I are weird that way. Why would you do something? Because to me, if you're not going huge, then what's the purpose?
Well, the food isn't like restaurant food.
Okay.
In these places back east, you can have two of them next door to each other. It's happened, and they still both succeed.
Okay.
It's I don't know. It's just what people do back there. Maybe that's not the mentality people will have out here. But there's only one way to find out. So for you, I'm gonna reveal a little something about myself. I suffer from depression, and so not someone who's sitting waiting to hurt himself or anything like that. Not that type of depression. Thank God. Not I'm on medication type of depression. One of the things I think I've done a pretty good job of trying to be self-aware and understanding certain things, understanding where I come from and the genetic and bloodline I come runs
from.
in the family,
right? And understanding things like that. I think it's where most people fall short is not being self-aware. There's addiction problem on both sides of my family. Being aware, and I always believe genetics
You're like the
to play.
Cleanest person I know,
right? But that's for a reason because I've seen what I've seen and watched what I've watched and said, okay, I don't want to, and I believe what I believe. So, so when I need the vacation, I just really need it so I can just unwind and, as you put it, recharge my batteries, but also to kind of help my mental state. Because I feel like when I get bogged down, and I'm someone who loves to work. I mean, you know that about me, and I have so many different things going at once. But I will hit that level where I know I just need to shut everything down, shut everybody out, and just be by myself. I don't even want anyone sometimes I don't want Tamara to talk to me if I could help it. I can't because I'm married, but I'm like, oh, would you just stop talking?
But doesn't that trip get expensive for you?
What trip?
I mean, any vacation you can run up the bill a little bit, right? You spend more money than you normally would on a vacation.
We take like one vacation a year. This is it.
Yeah.
So whatever we spend, and we're comfortable doing it.
Well, we're going to Boston, and then we're spending one night. We're going to head over to Manhattan for a night, and I'm sure that'll be $1,000 between the hotel and whatever we do.
I told you before, you're going to be sleeping on the sidewalk for $1,000, right? But to back to what I wanted to say was, do you ever feel like for you, does it put you in a state of depression when you're thinking about going back just to you, thinking about you and finances and where you are now versus where you think you should be?
No, not depression. I go the other way. I get the anxiety. I get the panic. Like, oh my God, what do I have to do to fix this? Like every situation's got to be fixed. It's got to be better.
Right.
So I won't say I get depression. I'll say I go the complete opposite extreme.
Yeah, I'm someone who likes to fix things too. There's always a solution. The thing that will bother me sometimes, I'm like, dude, I'm the smartest person in the room. How can I not fix this? And how can this person over here who can't even snap his fingers fix this problem? And so sometimes that will bother me too. But I'm glad it's not a depression thing for you. I think if I was sitting in your shoes with what you say you go through as far as taking trips and spending money, I think it would give me, put me in a bit of a depression.
Yeah, maybe I'm just really cheap. Maybe that's what it comes down to.
Well, we figured that out on the last show that you're super cheap because you have yet to bring a box of Pop-Tarts over here. You've eaten.
If I buy the Pop-Tarts, that's like admitting I have a problem.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You sound like those people who smoke everybody else's weed. You do have a problem.
I'll never buy it, but I'll smoke it if it's around. Get out of my room, Dad.
I'm just kidding. Don't eat all the Pop-Tarts you want. Tamara buys them for you anyway. She's almost forgotten that I even exist when it comes to Pop-Tarts.
No, because I haven't seen any brown sugar and cinnamon, so I think you're still on the mic. As I eat this last bite of strawberry Pop-Tart.
But that is interesting, man. Okay, well, thanks for being so open with that. I know I probably surprised you with that one a little bit. Well, that's not all the way true. I mean, you got a lot of the secrets you keep. I'm pretty sure that you're in an abusive relationship, but we're getting that on another day.
I know she loves me.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But she drives over here and hits me.
She a little fist of fury. Watch it.
So this is true.
No.
I was on to something here.
No.
I was on to something here. Hey guys, again, we got a lot of good stuff coming up. Working on some things here and there. But thank you guys for supporting the show the way that you have. Shout out to our patrons out there again on our Patreon. We do appreciate you and your support, and everyone who listens. If you really dig us, share it with someone else. Let someone else know they should listen to these two.
Tell one person.
Dudes.
Each person tells one person. We're good.
Right. Tell them you know a guy who has a voice that sounds like butter, and that they should listen to it. And that's been the podcast. I've been Butter Smith. This has been Mayo.
I assume it was the Boston guy. Like, that's not Butter.
This has been Mayo Kamaya. All right. You ready to jump in this thing, man?
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you guys again. The Morris murders were carried out by Myra Hindley and Ian Brady between July 1963 and October 1965, in and around what is now Greater Manchester, England. The murders are so named because the two of the victims were discovered in graves dug on Saddleworth Moor.
Oh,
right.
There you go.
That's
I was
something.
just about to ask.
See, there you go, right there. Myra Hindley, born on July 23rd, 1942, was brought up in Gordon, then a working class area of Manchester, the daughter of Nellie and Bob Hindley. Her mother and alcoholic father beat her on a regular basis as a young child. The small house the family lived in was in such poor condition that Hindley and her parents had to sleep in the only available bedroom. She in a single bed next to her parents' double. The family's living conditions deteriorated further when Hindley's sister, Maureen, was born in 1946. Shortly after the birth, Hindley, then age 5, was sent by her parents to live with her grandmother, who lived nearby.
We get a lot of that in that story. Sent to live with the grandmother.
Especially, given the time period. I guess that was just the way to do things. You would have more children than you probably could support, and then you would ship one of them off. And I think most of our stories have been the older one.
Yeah.
Off away to live with someone else.
It's like admitting that when you send to the grandmother, it's admitting that you're the first generation that sucked. Because grandma got it together, but you don't.
I fall short. Well, grandma had yeah. I think you're right. You think how my mom raised like 8 kids in a 1-bedroom shack. And I somehow cannot figure this out with 2 kids.
Maybe dad's still living off that World War I pension. I don't know.
So Hindley's father had fought in North Africa, Cyprus, and Italy during the Second World War.
Oh, the Second World War.
There you go. So look at you.
Well, Gramps was in the first one.
Yes. And has served with the Parachute Regiment. He had been known in the Army as a hard man, and he expected his daughter to be equally tough. He taught her how to fight and insisted that she stick up for herself. When Hindley was age 8, a local boy approached her in the street and scratched both of her cheeks with his fingernails, drawing blood.
Oh, that's a dickhead.
Straight up. She burst into tears and ran into her parents' house to be met by her father, who demanded that she go punch him, the boy, because if you don't, I'll leather you. Hindley found the boy and succeeded in knocking him down with a sequence of punches, as her father had taught her. As she wrote later, At 8 years old, I scored my first victory.
I'm not completely against that practice.
I'm not either.
I wouldn't threaten my kid, but hey,
I'm not against it either. And I want to get your thoughts after I read this here. Malcolm McCulloch, professor of forensic psychiatry at Cardiff University, has suggested that the fight and the part that Hindley's father played in it may be key pieces of evidence in trying to understand Hindley's role in the Moores murders. The relationship with her father brutalized her. She was not only used to violence in the home, but rewarded for it outside. When this happens at a young age, it can distort a person's reaction to such situations for life.
Yeah, well, we're basing that off one incident that you just read about, not all the beatings. I mean, if he threatens her with leather, that's something that's regular. I don't think that one incident is the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, telling a kid to stick up for himself is fine. Threatening to beat him, different story.
Well, I know in my family growing up as a kid, so if 5 of us left, one of us got into a fight, and you came back and 1 out of the 5 looked like he or she had been in a fight, the other 4 were getting their asses whooped. If one got into a fight and came back looking like, you all better come back looking like you got into a fight.
Oh, you got to go get your backs.
And so that was how we were raised, and that's how it was. But I disagree. I agree with you, and I disagree with him. I don't think, and I hope he's not, but it sounds like he is. I don't think you can take that one incident and say this is what made her into what she turned out to be. Not. Because I'm sure she wasn't the only kid that was raised this way. And I'm sure plenty of them didn't turn out to do what she ended up doing.
I don't see that incident think he was telling her to go assault this child. Mm-hmm. It was go stick up for yourself.
Right. Well, yeah, right. It wasn't go out there and scratch this boy's face for no reason with your hands. It was, no, you defend yourself. And a lot of it is true because you will see that in everyday life with just being a kid, period. Even when we grew up, if you let the bullies push you around every day, they're going to push you around every fucking day. Even if it means getting and taking a person will have more respect for you, even if they whoop your ass if you fight back.
Yeah, they typically don't come back. If you fight back, they don't want the challenge.
Right.
So if you fight back, even if you lose, they're not going to be looking for you so quickly the next time.
Right. Absolutely.
The little bitch ass friends won't do anything either.
What's that now?
There's usually a leader bully.
Well, that's the first one you hit.
Yeah, you hit him and then the bitch asses just stand back.
Well, you sound like you've been through this.
I've been bullied. Oh, shit.
Oh, really?
Oh, you what? I was young. No, I don't put myself in bullying situations anymore.
Well, you didn't have any brothers.
No, I had 2 sisters.
Right. And did you not have any male cousins that you hung out with pretty tough when you were growing up?
No, not really. I was big when I was young. I was like the neighborhood kid. Like I had friends in the neighborhood because they were small and fragile, whatever. Not fragile, that's probably the wrong word, but just smaller than me, younger, whatever. So I was kind of like the bigger kid. They would hang out with me so they wouldn't get bullied. I
had the 2 younger siblings, or the 2 younger brothers and a younger sister, but I was also the cousin that if you were messing with my younger cousins, they would have me come over to to do whatever needed to be done.
Yeah, I tried to build a posse, but it wasn't working.
You try to put your little rascals crew together.
Your little crew.
All right. So one of her closest friends was 13-year-old Michael Higgins, who lived on a nearby street. In June 1957, he invited her to go swimming with friends at a local disused reservoir. A good swimmer, Hindley chose not to go and instead went out with a friend, Pat Jepson. Higgins drowned in the reservoir.
Oh.
And upon learning of his fate, Hindley was deeply upset and blamed herself for his death. She recollected, excuse me, I keep wanting to say that even when I was reading through this. She collected for a funeral wreath and his funeral at St. Francis Monastery in Gordon Lane. The church where Hindley had been baptized, a Catholic, on 16 August 1942, had a lasting effect on her. Hindley's mother had only agreed to her father's insistence that she be baptized a Catholic on a condition that she was not sent to a Catholic school, as her mother believed that all the monks taught was the catechism.
Well, I went to 12 years of Catholic school.
Is that true?
Yes. No, I did. 1st through 12th.
No, don't mean the catechism. That all they would teach was catechism.
No, God, no. I think we had... There weren't even nuns that were teachers anymore. I had like one nun as a teacher when I was in grammar school. That was it.
Yeah, I have friends growing up in high school who had to go to catechism class like every day after school. I've never been to catechism class. I have no idea what you really learn in that class. I just know they dreaded going.
I mean, we had religion class, but it was just one class. It was math class, it was English class, it was religion class. And we had to wear sweaters, school sweaters, which sucked because if you walk home, the public school was in between my house and the Catholic school that I went to.
So was it like a cool varsity sweater?
I was really good at dodging rocks.
So Hindley was increasingly drawn to the Catholic Church after she started at Ryder Brow Secondary Modern and began taking instruction for formal reception into the church soon after Higgins' funeral. She took the confirmation name of Veronica and received her first communion in November 1958. She also became a godparent to Michael's nephew, Anthony John. It was also about this time that Hindley first began bleaching her hair. Hindley's first job was as a junior clerk at a local electrical engineering firm. She ran errands, made tea, and typed. She was well liked at the firm, enough so that when she lost her first week's wage packet, the other girls had a collection to replace it.
She lost it, like misplaced? They didn't pay her.
No, it sounds like she misplaced it.
That sucks.
She had a short relationship with Ronnie Sinclair from Christmas 1958 and became engaged at the age of 17. The engagement was called off several months later, you think? Hindley apparently thought Sinclair was immature and unable to provide her with the life she envisioned for herself. So she already she felt she deserved.
Sorry, I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm a gold digger.
You're not at it.
You're going to need to do better.
You got an older brother maybe who's already a little farther along than you. Shortly after her 17th birthday, she changed her hair color with a pink rinse. She took judo lessons once a week at a local school, but found partners reluctant to train with her as she was often slow to release her grip.
I'll train.
You were trained with her?
What are we gripping?
Oh, God. She took a job at Bradby and Hinchcliffe, an engineering company in Gordon, but was sacked for absenteeism after 6 months.
Oh, fired.
So then we get into the story of Ian Brady. Ian Brady was born in Glasgow as Ian Duncan Stewart on January 2nd, 1938 to Maggie Stewart.
We should probably be doing this show in a British accent.
An unmarried 28-year-old tea room waitress. No, I'm not doing that. The identity of Brady's father has never been reliably ascertained.
He was a bloody git.
Although his mother claimed he was a reporter working for a Glasgow newspaper, which probably means he was a paper boy who delivered. The mother's always lie at least one step up.
That was my first regular paying job.
Well, which means that all you did was just print the paper.
No. I delivered the papers. They were dropped off to my house. I get on my bike and deliver them.
But to my point though, this dude was probably not a reporter. I think women always lie about the dad at least one step above where the guy really was in life.
Yeah, probably. This is like a prequel to Tinder.
So he was a reporter working for a Glasgow newspaper who died 3 months before Brady was born. Stewart had little support and after a few months was forced to give her son into the care of Mary and John Sloan, a local couple with 4 children of their own. Brady took their name and became known as Ian Sloan.
You even know the difference between 4 and 5 kids? I don't think I would.
His mother continued to visit him throughout his childhood. As a young child, he took pleasure in torturing animals. He broke the hind legs of one dog.
Oh, my God.
Set fire to another and decapitated a cat.
Out of the 3, I'd rather be the cat.
I think if you got 4 or 5 kids, if one of them is doing this, you know the difference between one and the other.
Who broke the dog's legs again?
This is the one you don't let come into the room without witnesses. Wait a minute. Before you come in here. Wait a minute. Where's Judy?
Normally, I think it's wrong to cage a kid, but in this case.
Age 9, Brady visited Loch Lomond with his family, where he reportedly discovered an affinity for the outdoors. And a few months later, the family moved to a new council house on an overspill estate at Pollock. He was accepted for Shawlands Academy, a school for above-average pupils. As he grew older, Brady's brutality escalated, and soon he was hurting children smaller than himself.
Oh, no, he moved on. That's always a step. Not if, but when you move on from
you got to I'm tired of breaking these dogs' legs. What small child's legs can I break? At Shawlands, his behavior worsened. As a teenager, he twice appeared before juvenile court for housebreaking. He left the academy age 15 and took a job as a T-boy at Harlan and Wolff Shipyard in Govan.
Tell me more about this T-boy.
I don't think it's the same thing as cabin boy, is it? 9 months later, he began working as a butcher's messenger boy. He had a girlfriend, Evelyn Grant, but their relationship ended when he threatened her with a flick knife after she visited a dance with another boy.
Oh, man.
He again appeared before the court, this time with 9 charges against him, and shortly before his 17th birthday, a court put him on probation on the condition that he went to live with his mother, who had by then moved to Manchester and married an Irish fruit merchant named Pat Brady, who got him a job as a fruit porter at Smithfield Market.
So 10 incidents is where we draw the line with his 9 incidents, because he had another 7 when he goes on probation. So if you make that 10th one.
But you get probation as long as you get the hell out of here.
Oh, my God. Listen, 9. Anyone can make 9 mistakes.
Within a year of moving to Manchester, Brady was caught with a sack full of lead seals he had stolen and was trying to smuggle out of the market. Because he was still under 18, he was sentenced to 2 years in Borstow for training. He was initially sent to Hatfield, but after being discovered drunk on alcohol he had brewed, he was moved to the much tougher unit at Hull.
Uh-oh.
Released on November 14, 1957, Brady returned to Manchester, where he took a laboring job which he hated and was dismissed from another job in a brewery. So, take away the 10 charges and the probation, and I know it's hard. Take away the abuse of animals and smaller kids. There are a few regularities here with any other teenage kid, where you have maybe 2, 3 jobs. You don't really want to work. You're not going to be good at anything. You get fired. You quit. So, I mean, there are some parts of him that are normal for a teenage boy, but I mean, obviously they get overwhelmed. Yeah, they get overwhelmed by the other things. Yeah. But even when I research, or you and the squad research, and we come up with the stories, I try to find some sense, if there's anything, of humanity in these people to a certain extent, just because I think it helps to not always look at everyone as complete villains.
No, it started somewhere. It always starts somewhere.
I mean, except for a few, and I think we had that last week on last week's show. I think there's only a few times where you say, man, I feel like this person just fell out of the womb.
Just born evil.
Yeah. And so I try to find that. But anyway, just wanted to say that little piece. There are parts of him, especially for our listeners out there who are not male, there are parts of him where he went through the same thing that maybe I went through, or Jamie went through, or any other, or maybe even your teenage son would be going through. And not to say that overshadows.
Yeah, it seems kind of irrelevant to the whole abuse and injuring of and killing.
I don't think it is, though.
No, I'm saying you don't think they're irrelevant. You can't separate. You just did separate the two.
No. I'm saying I didn't separate them. I'm just saying you can see that there's that part of them. I don't think it's irrelevant to that. I think it's all relatable.
It certainly sounds relatable when you tie these major things in, and then you say, "Oh, these other little things on top of it do sound like they pile on."
Right.
But I do agree with you that these other little things. But I've had jobs I hated.
Right.
I still do.
So, deciding to be better. So, released on November 14, 1957, Brady returned to Manchester, where he took a laboring job, which he hated, and was dismissed from another job in a brewery. Deciding to be better himself, Brady obtained a set of instruction manuals on bookkeeping from a local public library, with which he astonished his parents by studying alone in his room for hours. In early 1959, just 3 months after being released from Borstow, Brady applied for and was offered a clerical job at Millward's Merchandising, a wholesale chemical distribution company in Gordon. He was regarded by his work colleagues as a quiet, punctual, but short-tempered young man. He read books such as Teach Yourself German and Mein Kampf, as well as works on Nazis' atrocities. He rode a Tiger Cub motorcycle, which he used to visit the Pennines. In 1961, the 18-year-old Myra Hindley joined Millward's as a typist. She soon became infatuated with Brady. Despite learning that he had a criminal record, she began a diary, and although she had dates with other men, some of the entries detail her fascination with Brady.
Tell me again how you cut the cat's head off.
Who she eventually spoke to for the first time on July 27, 1961. Over the next few months, she continued to make entries and grew increasingly disillusioned with him until December 22nd, when Brady asked her on a date to the cinema, where they watched a film about the Nuremberg trials. The dates together followed a regular pattern: a trip to the cinema, usually to watch an X-rated film, and then back to Hindley's house to drink German wine.
They like what they like.
Brady then gave her reading material, and the pair spent
How to kill the mood, dude. She's like, let's go see an X-rated movie, get drunk. Read this.
You want to see a nipple? No. I
want you to sound that word out.
Practice your syllables. All right. Brady then gave her reading material, and the pair spent their work lunch breaks reading aloud to one another from accounts of Nazi atrocities.
Oh, my God.
Hindley began to emulate an idea of Aryan perfection, bleaching her hair blonde and applying thick crimson lipstick. She expressed her concern at some aspects of Brady's character. In a letter to a childhood friend, she mentioned an incident where she had been drugged by Brady, but also wrote of her obsession with him. A few months later, she asked her friend to destroy the letter. In her 30,000-word plea for parole, written in 1978 and 1979 and submitted to Home Secretary Marilyn Reese, Hindley said, "Within months, he, Brady, had convinced me that there was no God at all. He could have told me that the earth was flat, the moon was made of green cheese, and the sun rose in the west. I would have believed him. Such was his power of persuasion." I just spoke about he as a teenager, and I have never been a teenage girl. And so the women who listen to us may agree or disagree with me. But listening to her and how she was obsessed with him, but didn't like him at the same time. Sounds like some teenage girlfriends I had. And so, did you just have a mixture of two people meeting each other at the right or wrong time, depending on how you're looking at it?
It's strange, at the very least.
So Hindley began to change her appearance further, wearing clothing considered risque, such as high boots, short skirts, and leather jackets. And the two became less sociable to their work colleagues. The couple were regulars at the library, borrowing books on philosophy as well as crime and torture. They also read books by the Marquis de Sade and Fyodor Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment, which is one of my favorite books.
Oh.
Although she was not a qualified driver, she passed her test on the third attempt, late in 1963. Hindley often hired a van in which the two planned bank robberies. Hindley befriended George Clitheroe, the president of the Cheeto, chopping up these names here, that's why I'm not doing an accent. The president of the...
Well, if you're doing an accent, we'll never know.
The president of Cheeto Rifle Club, and on several occasions visited two local shooting ranges. Clitheroe, although puzzled by her interest, arranged for her to buy a .22 rifle from a gun merchant in Manchester.
That's super accurate.
She also asked to join a pistol club, where she was a poor shot and allegedly often bad-tempered. Worst person you want to have a gun. Bad-tempered, short-tempered person. So Clitheroe told her that she was unsuitable. She did, though, manage to purchase a Webley .45 and a Smith & Wesson .38 from other members of the club. Brady and Hindley's plans for robbery came to nothing, but they became interested in photography. Brady already owned a box brownie, which he used to take photographs of Hindley and her dog Puppet. That made you laugh. The dog's name was Puppet?
No, just to take a picture of the dog, period.
But he upgraded to a more sophisticated model and purchased lights and dark room equipment. The pair took photographs of each other that, for the time, would have been considered explicit.
Oh, tell me more.
You perv. For Hindley,
pronounce those words correctly.
For Hindley, this demonstrated a marked change from her earlier, more shy nature. So she's progressing a little bit. Hindley claimed that Brady began to talk about committing the perfect murder in July of 1963 and often spoke to her about Meyer Levin's Compulsion, published in 1956. The novel, a fictionalized account of the Leopold and Loeb case, tells the story of two young men from well-to-do families who attempt to carry out the perfect murder of a 12-year-old boy and who escaped the death penalty because of their age. By June 1963, Brady had moved in with Hindley at her grandmother's house in Bannock Street.
Still with Nana.
And on July 12, 1963, the two murdered their first victim. 16-year-old Pauline Reed. Reed had attended school with Hindley's younger sister, Maureen, and had also been in a short relationship with David Smith, a local boy with 3 criminal convictions for minor crimes. Police could find nobody who had seen Reed before her disappearance, and before the 15-year-old Smith was questioned by police, he was cleared of any involvement in her death. Their next victim, John Kilbride, was killed on November 23rd, 1963. A huge search was undertaken with over 700 statements taken and 500 missing posters printed. 8 days after he failed to return home, 2,000 volunteers scoured waste ground and derelict buildings.
2,000?
It sounds, man,
That's a lot of ground.
They caught me with the 700 statements that were taken. They're really putting in work to find this kid. Hindley hired a vehicle a week after Kilbride went missing. And again on December 21st, 1963, apparently to make sure the burial sites had not been disturbed. In February 1964, she bought a second-hand Austin Traveler, but soon after traded it for a minivan. On June 16, 1964, 12-year-old Keith Bennett disappeared. His stepfather, Jimmy Johnson, became a suspect. In the 2 years following Bennett's disappearance, Johnson was taken for question on 4 occasions.
That sucks. Kid disappears and it wasn't you.
Mm-hmm. Detectives searched under the floorboards of Johnson's house, and on discovering that the houses in the row were connected, extended the search to the entire street. Maureen Hindley married David Smith on August 15, 1964. The marriage was hastily arranged and performed at a register office. None of Hindley's relatives attended. Myra did not approve of the marriage, and her mother was too embarrassed. Maureen was 7 months pregnant. The newlyweds moved into Smith's father's house the next day. Brady suggested that the four take a day trip to Lake Windermere. This was the first time Brady and Smith had met properly, and Brady was apparently impressed by Smith's demeanor. The two talked about society, the distribution of wealth, and the possibility of robbing a bank. This dude is really stuck on this.
He's all over the place here.
The young Smith was similarly impressed with Brady, who throughout the day had paid for his food and wine. The trip to the Lake District was the first of many outings. Hindley was apparently jealous of their relationship, but became closer to her sister. In 1964, Hindley, her grandmother, and Brady were rehoused as part of the post-war slum clearances in Manchester, 216 Waterbrook Avenue in the new overbuilt estate of Hattersley. Brady and Hindley became friendly with Patricia Hodges, an 11-year-old girl who lived at 12 Waterbrook Avenue. Hodges accompanied the two on their trips to Saddleworth Moor to collect peat, something that many householders on the new estate did to improve the soil in their gardens.
I was just saying, it's like moss or something? Or
I don't know. Did you
fertilizer? I don't know. Peat. I've heard commercials about it.
Say what?
I've heard commercials
about peat?
Buy a bag of peat.
Wait a minute, how did they say it?
Oh, maybe not exactly. I'm paraphrasing again.
Is that the commercial?
Buy a bag of peat. I want to say it's in the fertilizer section of Lowe's.
What's the marketing firm here like?
They were off that day.
Boss, we got it.
Quick, we need something for peat.
We got it, boss. Buy a bag of peat.
We're going home for the rest of the day. Our work is done.
I like the cut of your jib, kid. That's sweet to the point. So which was full of clay and builder's rubble. So there you go. That's what peat is. More to collect peat, something that many householders on the new estate did to improve soil in their gardens, which was full of clay and builder's rubble. Nope, I was wrong. That's what the gardens were full of.
Right, that's why
you need that peat. That's why you need that peat. She remained unharmed, living only a few doors away. Her disappearance would have been easily solved. Early on Boxing Day 1964, Hindley left her grandmother at a relative's house and refused to allow her back to Waterbrook Avenue that night. On the same day, 10-year-old Leslie Ann Downey disappeared from a fun fair in Ancoats. Despite a huge search, she was not found. The following day, Hindley brought her grandmother back home. By February 1965, Patricia Hodges had stopped visiting 16 Waterbrook Avenue, but David Smith was still a regular visitor. Brady gave Smith books to read, and the two discussed robbery and murder. On Hindley's 23rd birthday, her sister and brother-in-law, who had until then been living with relatives, were rehoused in Underwood Court, a block of flats not far from Waterbrook Avenue. The two couples began to see each other more regularly, but usually only on Brady's terms. I wonder what those terms were. During the 1990s, Hindley claimed that she took part in the killings only because Brady had drugged her, was blackmailing her with pornographic pictures he had taken of her, and had threatened to kill her younger sister, Maureen. In a 2008 television documentary series on female serial killers broadcast on IATV3, Hindley's solicitor, Andrew McCooey, reported that she had said to him, "I ought to have been hanged. I deserved it. My crime was worse than Brady's because I enticed the children, and they would have never entered the car without my role. I have always regarded myself as worse than Brady."
Don't sell yourself short. Brady's a piece of shit, too.
The full extent of Brady and Hindley's killing spree did not come to light until their confessions in 1985, as both had until then maintained their innocence. Their first victim was 16-year-old Pauline Reed, a neighbor of Hindley's who disappeared on her way to a dance in Crumpsall on 12 July 1964. That evening, Brady told Hindley that he wanted to commit his perfect murder. He told her to drive her van around the local area while he followed behind on his motorcycle. When he spotted a likely victim, he would flash his headlight, and Hindley would stop and offer that person a lift.
And people would just get in.
Driving down Gorton Lane, maybe different times. Driving down Gorton Lane, Brady saw a young girl walking towards them and signaled Hindley to stop, which she did not do until she had passed the girl. Brady drew up alongside on his motorbike, demanding to know why she had not offered the girl a lift, to which Hindley replied that she recognized her as Marie Ruck, a near neighbor of her mother. Shortly after 8 p.m., continuing down Froxmoor Street, Brady spotted a girl wearing a pale blue coat.
What if the girl who got away there ever heard about this story and was like, holy shit?
How close?
Right.
And white high-heeled shoes walking away from them and once again signaled for the van to stop.
She could have been like, listen, I would have got in that van without a question. I see a van, I get in.
And does that say something about Myra for not wanting to grab up a girl that she knew?
You know, she got away. She could rat her out.
Okay. So maybe that's what she's thinking. That if this girl gets away,
yeah, you just see that person, and all of a sudden, okay, no, this is personal. You can kill a stranger, easier than, I'm guessing. I've never killed anyone, but I'm guessing you could kill a stranger easier than you could kill someone who's innocent.
Jamie, I don't know, man. Did you sure you never killed anybody? Seems like you got some insight.
Pretty sure.
So they ended up passing the girl that she knew. And then again, as I was saying, shortly after 8 p.m., continuing down Froxmoor Street, Brady spotted a girl wearing a pale blue coat and white high-heeled shoes walking away from them, and once again signaled for the van to stop. Hindley recognized the girl as Pauline Reed, a friend of her younger sister, Maureen. Reed got into the van with Hindley. So she recognized the one girl, a neighbor of her mother, and did not.
So now she sees this other girl. Maybe she's like high heels.
And recognized the girl. She recognized her as Pauline Reed, a friend of her younger sister, Maureen. So, okay. So this changes her mind. She'll pick up this girl.
Yeah, she's a little bit old. Maybe she just didn't like her shoes.
So Reed got into the van with Hindley, who then asked if she would mind helping to search for an expensive glove she had lost on Saddleworth Moor. Reed said she was in no great hurry and agreed. At 16, Pauline Reed was older than Marie Ruck, and Hindley realized that there would be less of a hue and cry over the disappearance of a teenager than there would over a 7 or 8 year old child.
Yeah, a little.
When the van reached the moor, Hindley stopped and Brady arrived shortly afterwards on his motorcycle. She introduced him to Reed as her boyfriend and said that he had also come to help find the missing glove.
That's all fine. That must have been one hell of a glove.
Hell of a glove.
Bringing in reinforcements.
Michael Jackson's glove. Brady took Reed onto the moor while Hindley waited in the van. After about 30 minutes, Brady returned alone and took Hindley to the spot where Reed lay dying, her throat cut. He told her to stay with Reed while he fetched a spade he had hidden nearby on a previous visit to the moor to bury the body. Hindley noticed that Pauline's coat was undone and her clothes were in disarray. She had guessed from the time he had taken that Brady had sexually assaulted her. Returning home from the moor in the van, they had loaded the motorcycle into the back. Brady and Hindley passed Reed's mother, Joan, accompanied by her son Paul, searching the streets for Pauline.
Oh, no, that's awkward.
Wow. Hindley approached the 12-year-old John Kilbride on November 23rd, 1963, at a market in Ashton-under-Lyne and asked him to help her carry some boxes. Brady was sitting in the back of a Ford Angler car that Hindley had hired. When they reached the moor, Brady took the child with him while Hindley waited in the car. Brady sexually assaulted Kilbride. So he's sexually assaulting both men or females and males.
Sexually assault and then murder. That's death penalty.
And attempted to slit his throat with a 6-inch serrated blade before fatally strangling him with a piece of string, possibly a shoelace. 12-year-old Keith Bennett vanished on his way to his grandmother's house in Longsight during the early evening of June 16, 1964, 4 days after his birthday. Hindley lured him into her mini pickup, which Brady was sitting in the back of, by asking for the boy's help in loading some boxes, after which she said she would drive him home. She drove to a lay-by on Saddleworth Moor as she and Brady had previously arranged, and Brady went off with Bennett, supposedly looking for a lost glove. Hindley kept watching. After 30 minutes or so, Brady reappeared alone and carrying a spade that he had hidden there earlier. When Hindley asked how he had killed Bennett, Brady said that he had sexually assaulted the boy and strangled him with a piece of string.
That's fucked up.
So, looks like he's, I mean, we'll read further, folks, but it looks like he's developing at least an MO in how he's killing.
Yes.
With the string, because this is the second one he's killed this way.
And assaulted. Sexually assaulted.
Yes.
Not even distinguishing between the genders either.
No, not at all. Brady and Hindley visited a fairground on December 26, 1964, in search of another victim, and noticed 10-year-old Leslie Ann Downey standing beside one of the rides. When it became apparent that she was on her own, they approached her and deliberately dropped some of the shopping they were carrying close to her. Before asking for the girls' help to carry some of the package to their car and then to their home, once inside the house, Downey was undressed, gagged, and forced to pose for photographs before being raped and fatally strangled with a piece of string.
Oh, I was waiting for this part when you told me earlier about all the lights and cameras and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is coming.
10-year-old. So this is a 10-year-old girl that he does this to. Hindley maintained that she went to draw a bath for the child and found the girl dead, presumably killed by Brady, when she returned. The following morning, Brady and Hindley drove with Downey's body to Saddleworth Moor, where she was buried, naked, with her clothes at her feet in a shallow grave.
Awful.
On October 6, 1965, Brady met 17-year-old apprentice engineer Edward Evans at Manchester Central Railway Station and invited him to his home at 16 Waterbrook Avenue in Hattersley, where Brady beat him to death with an axe.
Oh, so he's just all over the place. Now he just likes killing, it sounds like. He just, I don't know, you're going to put him in front of the cameras too? Go stand close to that light for me. What?
So I'm with you. He's all over the place. And it seems like whatever he had, that lull where he taught himself, where he sat and studied in his room, where his parents were impressed, that was just, he's had that little lull from being that kid who was a bully, that kid who were breaking dogs' legs and so on and so forth, killing cats and bullying kids, to now he's here with her and repeating sounds like the things that he did as a small boy.
I shouldn't be making fun of him with the books, because that's about the only time he wasn't an asshole.
Well, that was it. And you're right. That was the only time. Diligent worker, and all the other things that they said about him when he had the job, except for he was short tempered. But yeah, it seems almost like, and we'll keep going, folks. And I'm no professional, but it almost feels like it wasn't until and obviously we'll dig more into her as well. But it seems like it wasn't until they found each other that they both were able to do these things that they were doing.
Well, it seemed like he found an accomplice because he was a piece of shit before that.
Well,
torture.
I hesitate to say that she was. I hesitate to say that she was some type of victim here.
No, I don't think so.
She was a willing. It seems to me a willing
What's that
participant.
syndrome called when you?
No,
Stockholm syndrome.
No,
it was your captor.
No, we're not letting her off the hook. She has Stockholm syndrome. She was not a captive.
No, she wasn't.
The attack on Edward Evans was witnessed by Hindley's 17-year-old brother-in-law. So when he kills this young man, it's witnessed by Hindley's 17-year-old brother-in-law, David Smith, the husband of her younger sister, Maureen. The Hindley family had not approved of Maureen's marriage to Smith, who had several criminal convictions, including actual bodily harm and housebreaking, the first of which, wounding with intent, occurred when he was aged 11.
Wow.
A lot of violent people in this industry.
At age 11, I couldn't even wrap my head around something like that at age 11.
Throughout the previous year, Brady had been cultivating a relationship with Smith, who had become in awe of the older man, something that increasingly worried Hindley, as she felt it compromised their safety. Shortly before Evans' murder, Brady announced to her that he and Smith intended to roll over a queer.
Roll over a queer? Like kill a gay person? Is that what that is?
I'm assuming that that's what that means, which I find to be weird, seeing that he was sexually assaulting males himself.
Is that how those dozy bollocks talk over there?
On the evening of October 6, 1965, Hindley drove Brady to Manchester Central Station, where she waited outside in the car while he selected their victim. After a few minutes, Brady reappeared in the company of Edward Evans, to whom he introduced to Hindley as his sister. After they had driven back home and relaxed over a bottle of wine, Brady sent Hindley to fetch her brother-in-law. When they got back to the house, Hindley told Smith to wait outside for her signal, a flashlight. When the signal came, Smith knocked on the door and was met by Brady, who asked if he had come for the miniature wine bottles. A few minutes later, Hindley, who had gone into the kitchen to feed her dogs, heard Brady struggling with Evans and saw Smith standing by the front door. She shouted for him to go and help, as Smith entered the room to find Brady repeatedly striking Evans with the flat of an axe.
What's that, the back hat?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He watched as Brady then throttled Evans with a length of electrical cord. Oh, so we're back to strangling, seems like here. Evans' body was too heavy for Smith to carry to the car on his own. Brady had sprained his ankle in the struggle, so they wrapped it in plastic sheeting and put it in his spare bedroom. Smith agreed to meet Brady the following evening to dispose of Evans' body, but after returning home, he woke his wife and told her what he had seen. Maureen told him that he must call the police. 3 hours later, the couple cautiously made their way to a public phone box in the street below their flat. Smith, taking the precaution of arming himself with a screwdriver and a kitchen knife to defend him in the event that Brady suddenly appeared and confronted them. At 6:07 a.m., Smith made an emergency services call to the police station and nearby Hyde and told his story to the officer on duty. In his statement to the police, Smith claimed that Brady opened the door and he said in a very loud voice to him, "Do you want those miniatures?" I nodded my head to say yes, and he led me into the kitchen. And he gave me 3 miniature bottles of spirits and said, "Do you want the rest?" When I first walked into the house, the door to the living room was closed. Ian went into the living room, and I waited in the kitchen. I waited about a minute or two, and then suddenly I heard a hell of a scream. It sounded like a woman, really high-pitched. Then the screams carried on, one after another, really loud. Then I heard Myra shout, "Dave, help him," very loud. When I ran in, I just stood inside the living room, and I saw a young lad. He was lying with his head and shoulders on the couch, and his legs were on the floor. He was facing upwards. Ian was standing over him, facing him, with his legs on either side of the young lad's legs. The lad was still screaming. Ian had a hatchet in his hand. He was holding it above his head, and he hit the lad on the left side of his head with the hatchet. I heard the blow. It was a terrible, hard blow. It sounded horrible.
I can only imagine.
What a way to break that all down, to describe that. I hope someone was writing that down while he was giving that very detailed account of what he saw. And I'm sitting here thinking about it I'm trying to picture it every step of it as I'm reading it and he's describing it. And just thinking, man, what would that sound like to hear someone being hit in the head with the flat side of an axe?
Yeah. A clunk, I'm guessing.
I'm thinking worse than a clunk, but that you may be right. So early in the morning of October 7th, shortly after Smith's call, Superintendent Bob Talbot of the Cheshire Police arrived at the back door of 16 Waterbrook Avenue, wearing a borrowed baker's overall to cover his uniform. Talbot identified himself to Hindley as a police officer when she opened the door and told her that he wanted to speak to her boyfriend. Hindley led him into the living room where Brady was sitting up in the divan, writing a note to his employer explaining that he would not be able to get into work because of his ankle injury. Talbot explained that he was investigating an act of violence involving guns that was reported to have taken place the previous evening. Hindley denied that there had been any violence and allowed police to look around the house. When they came to the upstairs room in which Evans' bodies were stored, the police found the door locked and asked Brady for the key. Hindley claimed that the key was at work, but after the police offered to drive her to her employer's premises to retrieve it, Brady told her to hand the key over.
Oh, you can have a look around, but not that room.
Right.
How suspicious is that?
Look anywhere but there. When they returned to the living room, the police told Brady that they had discovered a trussed-up body and that he was being arrested on suspicion of murder. As Brady was getting dressed, he said, "Eddie and I had a row, and the situation got out of hand." Hindley was not arrested with Brady, but she demanded to go with him to the police station, accompanied by her dog, Puppet.
Puppet's still around. All of this, Puppet made it.
To which the police agreed. Hindley was questioned about the events surrounding Evans' death, but she refused to make any statement beyond claiming that it had been an accident.
That was it. Just an accident, was it?
You heard her.
Thud. Big thud. Or a big clunk.
Nothing to see here.
Just an accident. Oh, in a locked room with bodies in it.
As the police had no evidence that Hindley was involved in Evans' murder, she was allowed to go home on condition that she would return the next day for further questioning. Hindley was at liberty for 4 days following Brady's arrest, during which time she went to her employer's premises and asked to be dismissed so that she would be eligible for unemployment benefits. While in the office where Brady worked, she found some papers belonging to him in an envelope which she claimed she did not open, which she burned in an ashtray. She believed that they were plans for bank robberies, nothing to do with murders. On October 11th, Hindley was charged as an accessory to the murder of Edward Evans and remanded at Risley.
Good.
Brady admitted under police question that he and Evans had fought, but insisted that he and Smith had murdered Evans between them. Hindley, he said, had only done what she had been told. Smith told police that Brady and Hindley had hidden evidence in 2 suitcases stored in left luggage office somewhere in Manchester. British Transport Police were asked to search all of Manchester stations, and on October 15th found what they were looking for. Police later found the left luggage ticket in the back of Hindley's prayer book. Inside one of the cases were 9 pornographic photographs taken of a young girl, naked and with a scarf tied around her mouth, and a 13-minute tape recording of her screaming and pleading for help.
Oh, no. This is one that got buried, right?
Oh, my God, yeah. Ann Downey, Leslie Ann Downey's mother, later listened to the tape after police had discovered the body of her missing 2-year-old daughter and confirmed that it was a recording of her daughter's voice.
Oh, imagine that.
Being the mom, having it. No, could not.
Kill him. Find a way.
Yeah. Police searching the house of Waterbrook Avenue also found an old exercise book in which the name John Kilbride had been scribbled, which made them suspicious that Brady and Hindley may have been involved in unsolved disappearances of other youngsters. A large collection of photographs were discovered in the house, many of which to have been taken on Saddleworth Moor. 150 officers were drafted to search the moor, looking for locations that matched the photographs. Initially, the search was concentrated along the A628 road near Woodhead, but a close neighbor, 11-year-old Pat Hodges, had on several occasions been taken to the moor by Brady and Hindley, and she was able to point out their favorite sites along the A635 road. So they took this 11-year-old and did not do anything to her.
No, let that one go for some reason.
On October 6th...
Maybe the kid was ugly.
On October 16th, police found an arm bone sticking out of the peat. There's that peat again. Officers presumed that they found the body of John Kilbride, but soon discovered that the body was that of Leslie Ann Downey. Ann Downey, later Ann West, after her marriage to Alan West, had been on the moor watching as the police conducted their search, but was not present when the body was found. She was shown clothing recovered from the grave and identified it as belonging to her missing daughter.
Oh, no.
Detectives were able to locate another site on the opposite side of the A635 road from where Downey's body was discovered, and 5 days later they found the badly decomposed body of John Kilbride, whom they identified by his clothing. That same day, already being held for the murder of Evans, Brady and Hindley appeared at Hyde Magistrates Court charged with Leslie Ann Downey's murder. Each was brought before the court separately and remanded into custody for a week. They made a 2-minute appearance on October 28th and were again remanded into custody. The search for bodies continued, but with winter setting in, it was called off in November. Presented with the evidence of the tape recording, Brady admitted to taking the photographs of Leslie Ann Downey, but insisted that she had been brought to Waterbrook Avenue by 2 men who had subsequently taken her away again, alive.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's completely believable.
Right. Brady was further charged with the murder of John Kilbride and Hindley with the murder of Edward Evans on December 2nd. Hey, man, when you're possibly up for these murder charges, you're going to come up with any story you can come up with to get the hell out of it.
You got nothing to lose at that point.
At the committal hearing on December 6th, Brady was charged with the murders of Edward Evans, John Kilbride, and Leslie Ann Downey, and Hindley with the murders of Edward Evans and Leslie Ann Downey, as well as the harboring Brady in the knowledge that he had killed John Kilbride. The prosecution's opening statement was held in camera, and the defense asked for a similar stipulation, but was refused. The proceedings continued in front of 3 magistrates in Hyde over an 11-day period during December, at the end of which the pair were committed for trial at Chester Assizes. Many of the photographs taken by Brady and Hindley on the moor feature Hindley's dog Puppet, sometimes as a puppy. Detectives arranged for the animal to be examined by a veterinary surgeon to determine its age, from which they could date when the pictures were taken. That's a smart idea.
Yeah, that is true.
Poor dog.
Poor dog.
The examination involved an analysis of the dog's teeth, which required a general anesthetic, from which Puppet did not recover, as he suffered from an undiagnosed kidney. Oh, wow.
Oh, Puppet.
On hearing the news of her dog's death, Hindley became furious and accused the police of murdering Puppet. One of the few occasions detectives witnessed any emotional response from her. In a letter to her mother shortly afterwards, Hindley wrote, "I feel as though my heart's been torn to pieces. I don't think anything could hurt me more than this, as the only consolation is that some moron might have got hold of Puppet and hurt him." This is the only time she gets upset that
all the murdering of people, including children. This is the thing that gets you.
This is pushes her over.
I mean, I like dogs as much as the next guy, but
you do like dogs, don't you?
I do. I like dogs a lot.
You guys have one now, right? One?
Yeah, we're fostering a second one.
What does that mean? Is someone going to come get this dog eventually? Is that what this
means?
Well,
her son and daughter are selling the house and then buying a house. So in between that, we're hanging on the dog farm.
It's weird that you say fostering. So they
that's the lingo we use in the biz.
In the biz? Not my dog.
It's not my dog biz.
So the trial was held over 14 days beginning on April 19, 1966, in front of Mr. Justice Fenton Atkinson. Such was the public interest that the courtroom was fitted with security screens to protect Brady and Hindley. The pair were each charged with 3 murders, those of Evans, Downey, and Kilbride, as it was considered that there was by then sufficient evidence to implicate Hindley in Kilbride's death. The prosecution was led by the Attorney General Frederick Elwyn Jones. Brady was defended by the Liberal Member of Parliament, Emlyn Hewson, and Hindley was defended by Godfrey Halpern, Recorder of Salford, from 1964, both experienced QCs. David Smith was the chief prosecution witness, but during the trial, it was revealed that he had entered into an agreement with a newspaper that he initially refused to name, even under intense questioning, guaranteeing him 10,000 euros as of, if you're looking at 2011.
10,000 euros in 2011. What's a euro? A little more than a dollar.
Looking at, say, so it guaranteed them 1,000 during that time, but it would be an equivalent of 10,000 as of 2011.
Oh, gotcha.
For the syndication rights to his story if Brady and Hindley were convicted, something the trial judge described as a gross interference with the courts of justice. Smith finally admitted in court that the newspaper was the news of the world, which had already paid for a holiday in France for him and his wife and was paying him a regular income of 20 euros per week, as well as accommodating him in a 5-star hotel for the duration of the trial.
Well, that's fair.
This dude's just making money's hand over fist, taking trips.
All right.
Brady and Hindley pleaded not guilty to the charges against them. Both were called to give evidence. Brady for over 8 hours and Hindley for 6.
They took the stand?
Sounds like. I mean, what else are you going to do in a case like this?
Make up another story.
Yeah, but who else is going to come in and get up on the stand for you?
I don't know, man. You're going to have to tell stories. You're going to get caught in a lie. That's why you never take the stand.
I plead not guilty, and the defense rests. Although Brady admitted to hitting Evans with an axe, he did not admit to killing him, arguing that the pathologist in his report had stated that Evans' death was accelerated by strangulation. Under cross-examination by the prosecuting counsel, All Brady would admit was that I hit Evans with the axe. If he died from axe blows, I killed him. Hindley denied any knowledge that the photographs of Saddleworth Moore found by police had been taken near the graves of their victims. The tape recording of Leslie Ann Downey, on which the voices of Brady and Hindley were clearly audible. Oh my God. So you have to take the stand. They got a recording of your voice. And you're in the room with this poor girl.
And now these people can hear your voice.
The both of you knuckleheads are clearly audible. Was played in open court. Hindley admitted that her attitude towards the child was brusque and cruel, but claimed that was only because she was afraid that someone might hear Downey screaming. Hindley claimed that when Downey was being undressed, she herself was downstairs. When the pornographic photographs were taken, she was looking out the window. And that when the child was being strangled, she was running the bath.
Oh no!
So I was in a lot of other different places. And a lot of this stuff was going on. I was not in the.
I was looking out a window, running the bath. Well, someone's getting murdered in your house.
I mean, I was sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. A lot of this was happening.
Wasting time.
This is the second or third week in a row you found someplace to say, sitting on the dock of the bay.
I like the Pearl Jam version. Sitting here rolling my bone.
What are we doing? Why you got to ruin oldest ready song, man?
Well, I mean, Pearl Jam version was good.
Get back to the story here. Just ruin this perfectly good song.
Okay, what about Jay-Z and Kanye West? They used an Otis Redding song, didn't they?
Look, Mel. need you to back up. On May 6th, and yes, they did. On May 6th, after having deliberated over a little over 2 hours, the jury found Brady guilty of all three murders and Hindley guilty of the murders of Downey and Evans. The Murder, Abolition of Death Penalty Act had come into force during the time that Brady and Hindley were held in prison, abolishing the death penalty for murder. And therefore, the judge passed the only sentence that the law allowed, life imprisonment. Brady was sentenced to 3 concurrent life sentences, and Hindley was given 2.
Concurrent. Plus, they can run alongside each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same as one.
I mean, it's life, though.
Right. Just stupid. Stupid terminology.
Plus a concurrent 7-year term for harboring Brady in the knowledge that he had murdered John Kilbride. Brady was taken to Durham prison, and Hindley was sent to Holloway prison.
This is just a whole load of crap right now. I'm so hung up on this whole prison thing, the concurrent.
This is what's hanging you up?
Why not one after the other? All right, let it carry him into the afterlife. But no, we're going to give you 3 murders. We're going to serve time all at once.
You don't believe in an afterlife?
No, I don't. That's why it really irks me.
So Brady, this is funny. In his closing remarks, Mr. Justice Atkinson described the murders as a truly horrible case and condemned the accused as 2 sadistic killers of the utmost depravity. He recommended that Brady and Hindley spend a very long time in prison before being considered for parole, but did not stipulate a tariff. He stated that Brady was wicked beyond belief and that he saw no reasonable possibility of reform. He did not consider that the same was necessarily true of Hindley once she is removed from Brady's influence. So he took in the judge's mind, he took the brunt of it, the weight.
Yeah, and he probably should have, but still.
Throughout the trial, Brady and Hindley stuck rigidly to their strategy of lying, and Hindley was later described as a quiet, controlled, and passive witness who lied remorselessly.
This was Florida. Oh, they'd both be hanging.
But I disagree with him and you because I guess if you want to sit there and believe that because she's a woman, she didn't do as much.
No, she should do life. Absolutely.
And it sounds like when they say they should spend the rest of their lives in, then I will have to agree with you because it sounds like there's a possibility that they could have got paroled when
very long time before considering parole. How is even parole even a consideration?
Right. So I'm with you. So now I don't want the concurrent. I want consecutive.
Yes.
Life terms because now you're not getting out.
Never. How can it even be a possibility?
Even if you got paroled on one, you still got to get paroled on all 3 now.
I mean, that's a capital murder in this country, anyways. You know, the crime against that child and then murder.
Right. Yeah.
Hang him.
Yeah, I'm with you. So in 1985, Brady allegedly confessed to Fred Harrison, a journalist working for the Sunday People, that he had also been responsible for the murders of Pauline Reed and Keith Bennett, something that the police already suspected as both children lived in the same area as Brady and Hindley and had disappeared at about the same time as their other victims. The subsequent newspaper reports prompted the Greater Manchester Police to reopen the case in an investigation headed by Detective Chief Superintendent Peter Topping. who had been appointed head of GMP's Criminal Investigation Department the previous year. On July 3rd, 1985, Topping visited Brady, then being held at Gartree Prison, but found him scornful of any suggestion that he had confessed to more murders. Police nevertheless decided to resume their search of Saddleworth Moor, once more using the photographs taken by Brady and Hindley to help them identify possible burial sites. Meanwhile, in November 1986, Winnie Johnson, Keith Bennett's mother, wrote a letter to Hindley begging to know what happened to her son. A letter that Hindley seemed to be genuinely moved by. It ended, "I am a simple woman. I work in the kitchens of Christie's Hospital. It has taken me 5 weeks labor to write this letter because it is so important to me that it is understood by you for what it is, a plea for help. Please, Miss Hindley, help me." Police visited Hindley, then being held in Cookham Wood, a few days after she had received the letter, and although she refused to admit any involvement in the killings, she agreed to help by looking at photographs and maps to try to identify spots she had visited with Brady. She showed particular interest in photographs of the area around Highland Brown Knoll and Shiny Brook, but said that it was impossible to be sure of the locations without visiting the moor. The security considerations for such a visit were significant. There were threats made against her should she visit the moors. But home security, Douglas Hurd, agreed with the Topping that it would be worth the risk. Writing in 1989, Topping said that he felt quite cynical about Hindley's motivation in helping the police. Although the letter from Winnie Johnson may have played a part, he believed that Hindley's real concern was that, knowing of Brady's precarious mental state, she was afraid that he might decide to cooperate with the police and wanted to make certain that she, and not Brady, was the one to gain whatever benefit there may have been in terms of public approval. Hindley made the first of 2 visits to assist the police search of Saddleworth Moor on December 16, 1986. 4 police cars left Cookham Wood at 4:30 a.m. At about the same time, police closed all roads onto the moor, which was patrolled by 200 officers, 40 of them armed. Hindley and her solicitor arrived by helicopter from an airfield near Maidstone, touching down at 8:30 a.m., wearing a donkey jacket and balaclava.
What?
Balaclava.
Oh, before that.
One of these days, you're going to read one of these. I'm going to write it and you're going to read it.
Oh, it'll take forever. You want me to sound these things out.
Wearing a donkey jacket and a balaclava, she was driven and walked around the area. And it was difficult for Hindley to make a connection between her memories of the area and what she saw in the day. And she was apparently nervous of the helicopters flying overhead. At 3 p.m., she was returned to the helicopter and taken back to Cookham Wood. Topping was criticized by the press, who described the visit as a fiasco, a publicity stunt, and a mindless waste of money. He was forced to defend the visit, pointing out its benefits. We had taken the view that we needed a thorough, systematic search of the moor. It would have never have been possible to carry out such a search in private. Topping continued to visit Hindley in prison, along with her solicitor, Michael Fisher, and her spiritual counselor, the Reverend Peter Timms.
The Reverend.
The good Reverend, who had been a prison governor before resigning to become a minister in the Methodist Church.
Prison governors like a warden, I'm guessing?
I assume so.
These guys over the other side of the pond, they got all these crazy lingo.
He figured out there's much more money in religion, so he quit and became a minister.
As in a mansion. Doesn't pay taxes.
She made I'm thinking about starting a church. She made a formal confession to police on February 10th, 1987, admitting her involvement in all 5 murders. But news of her confession was not made public for more than a month. The tape recording of her statement was over 17 hours long. Topping described it as a very well worked out performance in which I believe she told me just as much as she wanted me to know and no more. He also commented that he was struck by the fact that she was never there when the killings took place. She was in a car, over the brow of the hill, in the bathroom, and even in the case of the Evans murder, in the kitchen.
Looking out the window.
Sitting on the dock of the bed. Topping.
Petting puppet.
You say petting puppet?
Trying to feed the dog.
Topping concluded that he felt he had witnessed a great performance rather than a genuine confession. Police visited Brady in prison again and told him of Hindley's confession, which at first he refused to believe. Once presented with some of the details that Hindley had provided of Pauline Reed's abduction, Brady decided that he too was prepared to confess.
Take me to the moor.
But on one condition.
I'll show you where it is.
but on one condition, that immediately afterwards he be given the means to commit suicide, a request that was impossible for the authorities to comply with. What are you doing? You know they can't agree to do that.
They can't even kill you themselves, and they'd be happy to.
At about the same time, Winnie Johnson sent Hindley another letter, again pleading with her to assist the police in finding the body of her son Keith. In the letter, Johnson was sympathetic to Hindley over the criticism surrounding her first visit. Hindley, who had not replied to the first letter, responded by thanking Johnson for both letters, explaining that her decision not to reply to the first resulted from the negative publicity that surrounded it. She claimed that, had Johnson written to her 14 years earlier, she would have confessed and helped the police. She also paid tribute to Topping and thanked Johnson for her sincerity. Hindley made her second visit to the morgue in March of 1987. How many times is this bitch going to get to go on tour? They selling T-shirts? This time, the level of security surrounding her visit was considerably higher.
They had a food truck.
Is that a food truck out there?
There you go with your notes again.
Hey, man, what's wrong with my notes? You got a real problem here, buddy. Sorry, folks, here. This is where my partner is supposed to be backing me up, but
I'm sitting there trying to see what you're writing.
I stand alone here, I guess. Nosy ass. So Hindley made her second visit to the morgue in March 1987. This time, the level of security surrounding her visit was considerably higher. She stayed overnight in Manchester at the flat of the police chief in charge of GMP training at Sedgley Park and visited the morgue twice. She confirmed to the police that the two areas in which they were concentrating the search, Holland Brown Knoll and Whole Grain, were correct. Although she was unable to locate either of the graves, she did later remember, though, that as Pauline Reed was being buried, she had been sitting next to her on a patch of grass and could see the rocks of Holland Brown Knoll silhouetted against the night sky.
Well, that's a good indicator there.
Yeah, that's not bad. It sounds like she's really trying this time.
Yeah, I really think. I mean, maybe they got us some of that fried dough out of the food truck and just a little more comfortable.
In April 1987, news of Hindley's confession became public. Amid strong media interest, Lord Longford pleaded for her release.
Lord? You got a Lord?
Writing that her...
Let her go. She served her time. Put in her time at the morgue. No parties.
Writing that her continuing detention to satisfy mob emotion was not right. Fisher persuaded Hindley to release a public statement in which she explained her reasons for denying her complicity in the murders, her religious experiences in prison, the letter from Johnson, and that she saw no possibility of release. She also exonerated David Smith from any part in the murders except that of Edward Evans. Over the next few months, interest in the search waned, but Hindley's clue had directed the police to focus their efforts on a specific area. On the afternoon of July 1st, 1987, after more than 100 days of searching, they found a body lying in a shallow grave 3 feet below the surface, only 100 yards from the place where Leslie Ann Downey had been found. Brady had been cooperating with the police for some time, and when news reached him that Reed's body had been discovered, he made a formal confession to Topping. He also issued a statement to the press through his solicitor, saying that he too was prepared to help the police in their search. Now these two are competing here.
Yeah, no, it's who can get the better deal.
Brady was taken to the morgue on July 3rd, but he seemed to lose his bearings, blaming changes that had taken place in the intervening years, and the search was called off at 3 p.m., by which time a large crowd of press and television reporters had gathered on the morgue. Topping refused to allow Brady a second visit to the morgues, and a few days after his visit, Brady wrote a letter to BBC television reporter Peter Gould. You see that?
Yeah.
Peter Gould.
Peter Gould.
Giving some sketchy details of the 5 additional murders that he claimed to have carried out. Brady refused to identify his alleged victims, and the police failed to discover any unsolved crimes matching the few details that he supplied. Hindley told Topping that she knew nothing of these killings. On August 24th, 1987, police called off their search of Saddleworth Morgue, despite not having found Keith Bennett's body.
Belongs to the morgue now.
Brady was taken to the morgue for a second time on December 1st, but he was once again unable to locate the burial site. Keith Bennett's body remains undiscovered as of 2011, although his family continues to search the morgue over 40 years after his disappearance.
How big is a morgue?
I don't know.
What makes it a morgue? What is a morgue?
These are all things that you need to discover once the podcast is over, buddy. What makes it up more? It sounds like not a lake because they're digging.
Well, it could be on the edge.
I don't think that's okay.
On the edge.
I'm not going to do this with you. Although Brady and Hindley had confessed to the murders of Pauline Reed and Keith Bennett, the Department of Public Prosecutions, try to say that fast 6 times, decided that nothing would be gained by a further trial, as both were already serving life sentences and no further punishment could be inflicted. A second trial might even have helped Hindley's case for parole by giving her a platform from which to make a public confession. In 2003, the police launched Operation Maida and again searched the morgue for the body of Keith Bennett.
Oh my God, let it go already.
You can. I mean, you figure the guy's out there. You got to
dig up every square inch of this thing that we don't even know what it is.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's some type of media push for this too.
Well, get out there. Media can dig.
They read statements from... Good thing you're not in charge.
Give him a shovel.
This poor man's mother would be... Her letters would be getting ripped up and tossed away if it was up to you. They read statements from Brady and Hindley and also studied photographs taken by the pair. The search was aided by the use of sophisticated modern equipment, including a U.S. satellite used to look for evidence of soil and movement. The BBC reported on July 1st, 2009, there's something about July here, that Greater Manchester Police had officially given up the search for Keith Bennett, saying that only a major scientific breakthrough or fresh evidence would see the hunt for his body restart. Detectives were also reported as saying that they would never again give Brady the attention or the thrill of leading another fruitless search on the moor where they believe Keith Bennett's remains are buried.
He's 80-something at this point, right?
He's not a young man. Donations from members of the public funded a search of the moor for Bennett's body by volunteers from a Welsh search and rescue team that began in March 2010. On July 30th, 2012, police received information that Brady may have given details of the location of Keith Bennett's body to one of his visitors. On August 19, a 49-year-old woman was arrested on suspicion of preventing the burial of a body without lawful excuse. Police said the investigations are ongoing. Immediately following the trial, Hindley lodged an unsuccessful appeal against her conviction. Brady and Hindley responded by letter until 1971, when she ended their relationship. They were corresponded by letter until 1971, when she ended their relationship. The two remained in sporadic contact for several months, but Hindley had met and fallen in love with one of her prison officers, Patricia Cairns.
Oh, Patricia.
You got to find love where you find it.
Each their own.
A former assistant governor claimed that such relationships were not unusual in Holloway at that time, as many of the officers were gay and involved in relationships either with one another or with inmates. It's just how it is around here.
Jail ain't so bad.
This is just how it is. Hindley successfully petitioned to have her status as a Category A prisoner changed to Category B, which enabled Governor Dorothy Wing to take her on a walk round Hampstead Heath, part of her unofficial policy of reintroducing her charges to the outside world when she felt they were ready. The excursion caused a furor in the national press and earned Wing an official rebuke from the then Home Secretary Robert Carr. With Cairns' assistance and the outside contacts of another prisoner, Maxine Croft, Hindley planned a prison escape, but it was thwarted when the presence of the prison keys were intercepted by an off-duty policeman. Sounds like a bad James Bond movie. You got impressions of the key here? Cairns was sentenced to 6 years in jail for her part in the plot. Hope that was some good pussy. While in prison, Hindley wrote an autobiography which remains unpublished. Hindley has told that she should spend 25 years in prison before being considered for parole. The Lord Chief Justice agreed with that recommendation in 1982. But in January of 1985, Home Secretary Leon Britton increased her tariff to 30 years.
Nice.
By that time, Hindley claimed to be a Reformed Roman Catholic. Ann West, the mother of Leslie Ann Downey, was at the center of a campaign to ensure that Hindley was never released from prison. And until West's death in February 1999, she regularly gave television and newspaper interviews whenever Hindley's release was rumored. In 1990, then Home Secretary David Waddington imposed a whole life tariff on Hindley after she confessed to having a greater involvement in the murders
knew it.
That she had previously admitted. So a whole life tariff. So he sounds like he increased.
Yeah. He said you get life.
So you're done, as she confessed to having a great involvement in murders that she had previously admitted. That's a crazy thing that someone can just go ahead and increase it.
Yeah, but it sounds like if her dumb ass went and said more about it, and they said, "Oh, well, then you were worse than we thought." I mean, and this kind of, I think they can commute things. I don't think they can just add time on. But
well, it sounds like they were changing. Like, oh, you could have been out at 25. You could have been out at 30. Oh, now you're not getting out at all.
Yeah. So I have zero sympathy for this case.
So Hindley was not informed of the decision until 1994. So not till 4 years later did she know.
It's double secret probation.
When the law lord's ruling obliged the prison service to inform all life sentence prisoners of the minimum period they must serve in prison before being considered for parole. So she didn't know. Pushed it up for 4 years.
They kept her going for 4 years.
Right. She gets quit.
Psych.
In 1997, the parole board ruled that Hindley was low risk and should be moved to an open prison. She rejected the idea and was moved to a medium security prison. The House of Lords ruling left open the possibility of later freedom. Between December 1997 and March 2000, Hindley made 3 separate appeals against her life tariff, claiming she was a reformed woman and no longer a danger to society, but each was rejected by the courts. Yeah, there's no way they're letting you out.
No, you're not. She shouldn't be.
As much as this case has been immediate, no way. When in 2002, another life sentence prisoner challenged the Home Secretary's power to set minimum terms, Hindley, this is what I was just talking about. So someone's challenging this. So when in 2002, another life sentence prisoner challenged the Home Secretary's power to set minimum terms, Hindley and hundreds of others whose tariffs have been increased by politicians looked likely to be released from prison. Hindley's release seemed imminent, and plans were made by supporters for her to be given a new identity. Lord Longford, a devout Roman Catholic, campaigned to secure the release of celebrated criminals, and Myra Hindley in particular, which earned him constant derision from the public and the press. He described Hindley as a delightful person and said, "You can loathe what people did, but should not loathe what they were, because human personality was sacred, even though human behavior was often appalling." Sounds something like someone religious would say that. Home Secretary David Blunkett ordered Greater Manchester Police to find new charges against her to prevent her release from prison. The investigation was headed by Superintendent Tony Brett and initially looked at charging Hindley with the murders of Pauline Reed and Keith Bennett.
So the life tariff wasn't happening? Someone gave her a life tariff, but now they're at it.
It seems like they were fighting against it. So now these guys are trying to find new things that they can throw at her to convict her.
Fight fruitless.
Yes. So they wanted to hit it, and they wanted to charge Hindley with the murders of Pauline Reed and Keith Bennett. Don't forget, they hadn't charged her with Pauline Reed before, and Keith Bennett, they still hadn't even found his body. But the advice given by government lawyers was that because of the DPP's decision taken 15 years earlier, a new trial would probably be considered abuse of process. On November 25th, 2002, the law lords agreed that judges, not politicians, should decide how long a criminal spends behind bars, and thus strip the Home Secretary of the power to set minimum sentences. But the news came too late for Hindley, a 40-a-day smoker who in 1999 had been diagnosed with angina and hospitalized after suffering a brain aneurysm on November 15, 2002. Age 60, she died from bronchial pneumonia caused by heart disease. Cameras crowded the pavement outside, but none of Hindley's relatives were among the congregation of 6 who attended a short service at Cambridge Crematorium, as they were living anonymously in Manchester under assumed names. Such was the strength of feeling more than 35 years after the murders that a reported 20 local undertakers refused to handle her cremation. 4 months later, her ashes were scattered by a former lover, a woman she had met in prison less than 10 miles from Saddleworth Moor in Staleybridge Country Park. Fears were expressed that the news might result in visitors choosing to avoid the park, a local beauty spot, or even that the park might be vandalized.
Yeah, keep that to yourself.
Following his conviction, Brady was moved to Durham Prison, where he asked to live in solitary confinement. He spent 19 years in mainstream prisons before being diagnosed as a psychopath in November 1985.
Took that long?
Right. And sent to high-security Park Lane Hospital, now Ashworth Psychiatric Hospital in Sefton. He has since made it clear that he never wants to be released. You don't have to worry about that.
He's just trying to take their power away from them.
Right. The trial judge had recommended that his life sentence should mean life, and successive Home Secretaries have agreed. Yes, and successive Home Secretaries have agreed with that decision.
Oh, good. That's what I wanted anyways.
Right.
You guy full of shit.
In 1982, the Lord Chief Justice Lord Lane said of Brady, "This is the case, if ever there is to be one, when a man should stay in prison till he dies." The death in November 2007 of John Straffen, who had spent 55 years in prison for murdering 3 children, meant that Brady became the longest serving prisoner in England and Wales. Although he refuses to work with Ashworth's psychiatrist, Brady occasionally corresponds with people outside the hospital, including the late Lord Longford, criminologist Colin Wilson, and various journalists. In one letter written in 2005, he claimed that the murders were merely an existential exercise of just over a year, which was concluded in December 1964. By then, he went on to claim he and Hindley had turned their attention to armed robbery, for which they had begun to prepare by acquiring guns and vehicles. During several years of interactions with forensic psychologist Chris Cowley, including face-to-face meetings, Brady told him of an aesthetic fascination he had with guns. Despite his never having used one to kill, he complained bitterly about conditions at Ashworth, which he hates. In 1999, his wrist was broken in what he claimed was an hour-long unprovoked attack by staff.
Yeah, he was beaten off is what he was doing at the jail.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, it makes sense.
Brady subsequently went on hunger strike, but as he was sectioned under the Mental Health Act, he no longer has the right to starve himself. He was therefore force-fed and transferred to another hospital for tests after he fell ill. He recovered and in March 2000 asked for a judicial review of the decision to force-feed him, but was refused permission.
So you're force-fed. I don't know. I would keep all my poop and throw it at people every time they come in. He's psycho, right? He'll fly.
Myra gets the potentially fatal brain condition, whilst I have to fight simply to die. I have had enough. I want nothing. My objective is to die and release myself from this once and for all. So you see, my death strike is rational and pragmatic. I'm only sorry I didn't do it decades ago, and I'm eager to leave this cesspit in a coffin. According to Chris Cowley, Brady regrets Hindley's imprisonment and the consequences of their actions, but not necessarily the crimes themselves. He sees no point in making any kind of public apology. Instead, he expresses remorse through actions. 20 years transcribing classical texts into Braille came to an end when the authorities confiscated his translation machine for fear it might be used as a weapon. He once offered to donate one of his kidneys to anyone who needed one, but was blocked from doing so. According to Colin Wilson, it was because these attempts to express remorse were thrown back at him that he began to contemplate suicide. He might have achieved this in 2006 when a female friend sent him 50 paracetamol pills stored in 2 Smarties tubes hidden inside a hollowed-out crime novel. The potentially lethal dose of tablets was intercepted. Winnie Johnson, the mother of undiscovered victim 12-year-old Keith Bennett, received a letter from Brady at the end of 2005 in which, she said, he claimed that he could take the police to within 20 yards of her son's body, but the authorities would not allow it. Brady did not refer directly to Keith by name and did not claim he could take investigators directly to the grave, but spoke of the clarity of his recollections.
So you got to smuggle pills in. You got to do it in the jail pocket. It's the only way that's going in there. Put the little Smartie tube right up in there.
The jail pocket?
The jail pocket.
Is that what you call the cracky ass?
When I worked at the jail, that's what they called it.
Is that what they called it?
Yes.
While at Ashworth in 2001, Brady wrote The Gates of Janus, which was published by Farrow House, an underground U.S. publisher. The book, Brady's analysis of serial murder and specific serial killers, sparked outrage when announced in Britain. David Smith became reviled by the people of Manchester, and David Smith was the brother-in-law.
Uh-huh.
So he was the brother-in-law for people out there who because I've thrown a lot of different characters at you. He was a brother-in-law who came over, the brother-in-law who called the cops.
Ah, right.
So David Smith.
Yeah, the screwdriver
right.
and the butter knife.
Yes.
To defend off.
the killer. David Smith became reviled by the people of Manchester, despite having been instrumental in bringing Brady and Hindley to justice. While her sister was on trial, Maureen, 8 months pregnant, was attacked in the lift of the building in which she and David lived. Their home was vandalized, and hate mail was regularly posted through their letterbox. Maureen feared for her children. I couldn't let my children out of my sight when they were little. They were too young to tell them why they had to stay in, to explain why they couldn't go out to play like all the other children. After knifing another man during a fight and an attack he claimed was triggered by the abuse he had suffered since the trial, Smith was sentenced to 3 years in prison in 1969. That same year, his children were taken into care of the local authorities. His wife, Maureen, moved from Underwood Court to a single-bedroom property and found work in a department store. Subjected to whispering campaigns and petitions to remove her from the estate where she lived, she received no support from her family. Her mother had supported Myra during the trial. On his release from prison, David Smith moved in with the girl, who became his second wife and won custody of his 3 sons. Maureen managed to repair the relationship with her mother and moved into a council property in Gordon. She divorced Smith in 1973 and married a lorry driver, Bill Scott, with whom she had a daughter. Maureen and her immediate family made regular visits to see Hindley, who reportedly adored her niece. In 1980, Maureen suffered a brain hemorrhage. Hindley was granted permission to visit her sister in the hospital, but she arrived an hour after Maureen's death. Sheila and Patrick Kilbride, who were by then divorced, were present at Maureen's funeral, believing that Hindley might make an appearance. Patrick Kilbride mistook Bill Scott's daughter from a previous relationship, Ann Wallace, for Hindley, and tried to attack her before it being knocked to the ground by another mourner. The police were called to restore order. Shortly before her death at the age of 70, Sheila Kilbride said, "If she, Hindley, ever comes out of jail, I'll kill her." In 1972, David Smith was acquitted of murder of his father, who had been suffering from an incurable cancer. Smith pleaded guilty to manslaughter and was sentenced to 2 days detention.
2 days for manslaughter?
He remarried and moved to Lincolnshire with his 3 sons and was exonerated of any participation in the Moore's murders by Hindley's confession in 1987.
Not much of a tariff there.
John Reed, here you go throwing the word tariff around. John Reed, Pauline Reed's mother, was admitted to Springfield Mental Hospital in Manchester. She was present under heavy sedation at the funeral of her daughter on August 7, 1987. 5 years after their son was murdered, Sheila and Patrick Kilbride divorced. Ann West, her mother of Leslie Ann Downey, died in 1999 from cancer of the liver. Since her daughter's death, she had campaigned to ensure that Hindley remained in prison, and doctors said that the stress had contributed to the severity of her illness. Winnie Johnson, mother of Keith Bennett, continues to visit Saddleworth Moor, where it is believed that the body of her son is buried. The house in which Brady and Hindley lived on Wardle Brook Avenue and where Edward Evans was murdered was demolished by the local council. Hindley died from bronchial pneumonia caused by heart disease at the age of 60 on November 15, 2002. Cameras crowded the pavement outside, but none of Hindley's relatives were among the congregation. 4 months later, Hindley's ashes were scattered. In 1997, BBC television debate discussed arguments for and against Myra Hindley's release. With contributions from parents as such as the murdered children, the case has been dramatized on television twice in See No Evil, The Moore's Murders, and Longford, both 2006. Hindley showed a greater public outrage because of her gender, and she was popularly assumed to be the devil incarnate. The photographs and tape recordings of the torture of Leslie Ann Downey demonstrated in court to a disbelieving audience, and the cool responses of Brady and Hindley helped ensure the lasting notoriety of their crimes. Brady, who says that he does not want to be released, is rarely mentioned in the news. But Hindley's repeated insistence on her innocence, attempts to secure her release from prison, resulted in her becoming a figure of hate in the national media. Retribution was a common thing amongst those who sought to keep her locked away, and even Hindley's mother insisted that she should die in prison, although out of fear for her daughter's safety and the desire to avoid the possibility that one of the victim's relatives might kill her. Some commentators expressed the view that of the two, Hindley was the more evil. In 1987, she admitted that the plea for parole she had submitted to the Home Secretary 8 years earlier was, on the whole, a pack of lies. And to some reporters, her cooperation in the searches of Saddleworth Moor appeared a cynical gesture aimed at ingratiating herself to the parole authorities. I told you.
She was trying to get out.
I told you she was, if not worse, just as bad.
I'm trying to help.
Characterized by the press as the most evil woman in Britain, Hindley made several appeals against her life sentence, claiming she was a reformed woman and no longer a danger to society. But she was never released. She died in 2002, age 60. Brady was declared criminally insane in 1985. since when he has been confined in the high-security Ashworth Hospital. He has made it clear that he never wants to be released. And he was still repeatedly asking to die. The murders reported in almost every English language newspaper in the world were the result of what Malcolm McCullough, professor of forensic psychiatry at Cardiff University, called a concatenation.
Concatenation.
I don't think that's the word.
No, that's a word, and use that in Excel.
Oh, okay.
And you want to concatenate two cells.
Well, there it is. A concatenation. Still don't
try again.
Nope, I'm not doing it. Nope. Of circumstances.
Medellin. Let me say Medellin.
Medellin. What are you doing?
You got that one. Let me get this one.
Come on, man.
Concatenation.
Nope. Of circumstances, which brought together a young woman with a tough personality, taught to hand out and receive violence from an early age, and a sexually sadistic psychopath. All right.
So we'll be releasing this over the next 3 weeks.
No, we will not be.
No, we're going to concatenate them into one.
Oh, man. We're going to concatenate them into one. Hey, folks, this story, and thank you guys for hanging in. For those of you who did hang in with us, was sourced from wikipedia.org. Bibliography, K. Carmichael, 2003, Sin and Forgiveness, New Responses in a Changing World. Jennifer Frio, 2001, Team Killers, Algor Publishing. Dirk Cameron Gibson, Dennis L. Wilcox, 2006, Serial Murder and Medium Circuses. Carol Ann Lee, 2010, One of Your Own, The Life and Death of Myra Hindley. Jean Ritchie, 1988, Myra Hindley, Inside the Mind of a Murderess. Duncan Staff, 2007, The Lost Boy, London Bantam Press. Peter Topping, 1989, Topping, the autobiography of the police chief in the Moors murder case. And if you want to dig up some more reading, other things you want to check out, Roger Bohr, Nigel Blundell, 1988, The World's Most Infamous Murder, mass market paperback. John Goodman, 1986, The Moors Murders, The Trial of Myra Hindley and Ian Brady.
From Roseanne?
No. Pamela Chancellor Johnson, 1967, on Iniquity, Macmillan. Fred Harrison, 1986, Brady and Hindley, The Genesis of Moors Murders. Kathy Hawkins, The Monster Body of Myra Hindley. John Dean Potter, 1967, The Monsters of the Moors. Joyce Robbins, 1993, Serial Killers and Mass Murders, 100 Tales of Infamy. Emlyn Wims, 1992, Beyond Belief, A Chronicle of Murder.
Okay, I think we get it.
All right, there, man. I want to make sure everyone gets their dues, man. Everyone gets their props. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Murderous Podcast. Thank you guys for joining us today. Jay, thanks for coming by, man.
Hey, happy to be here.
And folks, remember, be aware of your surroundings, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.